Satan rebelled against God, became a serpent, and deceived Eve in the Garden of Eden. But what if I told you the Bible never actually says that? What if the real story, hidden in the shadows of Scripture, is far more ancient, far more complex, and far more unsettling than we were ever taught? And what if the serpent in Genesis wasn't Satan at all? Today, we're diving into a truth that's been carefully hidden, or perhaps simply misunderstood, for thousands of years. Most people assume the serpent in Eden was Satan. Most assume rebellion in heaven led to the fall of mankind. But let's look carefully at Genesis. Nowhere in these chapters do we find the words Satan, devil, or even fallen angel. The serpent is simply a serpent. Everything else is interpretation layered on interpretation centuries later. So what if everything we've been taught about Satan in Eden is not in the Bible at all? The Hebrew word for serpent in Genesis is nachash. It doesn't just mean a snake. It can mean a shining one, a diviner, or a deceiver. Ancient readers may not have imagined a literal snake. The text leaves the identity deliberately vague. So if it wasn't Satan and it wasn't a literal snake, who or what was this creature walking among the first humans? Some scholars suggest it was a spiritual being, or even a member of God's divine council, a being with knowledge far beyond human understanding. Ancient Israelite texts hint at a hierarchy of spiritual beings under God. These beings were called sons of God, members of a divine council that governed creation. Eden, described as a sacred mountain, may have been the very place this council met. The serpent, then, could have been one of these exalted beings, not rebelling in heaven, but walking among humans, testing, challenging, or even corrupting them. The story may have less to do with cosmic rebellion and more to do with divine rivalry played out on earth. Here's the twist. The figure of Satan, the one we imagine today, appears much later in Scripture. Isaiah 14, it's talking about the king of Babylon. Ezekiel 28, the king of Tyre. The name Lucifer doesn't even appear in the Hebrew Bible. It comes from a Latin translation. Jewish texts from before the time of Jesus never link the serpent in Genesis with Satan. In fact, the merging of the serpent and Satan as one figure happened centuries later, after the story of Eden was already written. So the picture you have of Satan in Eden is a product of interpretation, not Scripture. The earliest fully developed Satan shows up in the book of Job, but even there, he is not a rebellious angel. He is an accuser, a heavenly prosecutor, questioning human faith. The serpent of Eden is never mentioned. It is only later, through Christian writings and the New Testament, that authors begin connecting the serpent, the devil, and Satan into a single figure. Jesus and later interpreters reframed the story, giving it the dark cosmic lens that dominates popular imagination. Genesis itself says nothing about Satan in Eden. If the serpent isn't Satan, what is the story really about? Genesis may not be about rebellion in heaven at all. It's about humanity, about curiosity, ambition, and disobedience. The serpent represents temptation, deception, and the choice to take knowledge before the appointed time. Eden isn't the story of Satan falling. It's the story of humanity rising too quickly, too arrogantly, and paying the price. The serpent's true identity is intentionally mysterious. This ambiguity forces readers to look inward at our choices, our temptations, and the voices that lead us astray. Perhaps the serpent's real lesson is not about a being, but about a voice a voice that still whispers to us today, urging us to seize what isn't ours to take before we are ready. The story of Genesis is a shadow story, a story designed to teach us about ourselves through symbols, through mystery, not through literal enemies. And this is only the first shadow in a much deeper story. If you want more hidden perspectives the church never talks about, subscribe and join us in the next investigation. Next time, we will uncover why God may have placed the forbidden tree in Eden on purpose, and why the lesson of that tree still echoes in every human heart.